Ulrika Magdova, a new legendary hero for both Kislev and the Empire, turned into a vampire against her will. But what are her stats and abilities? How do we unlock her in campaign? What are her skills? Come on then, let's go. Firstly, to the stats, where she's got it all going on. She's a melee hero, she's a ranged hero, she's a caster. She doesn't have a ton of armor on, so not the toughest. Good foot speed though at 40. Decent combat stats, melee attack, melee defense, weapon strength. Got a bonus versus infantry, although lacking armor piercing, so preferably looking for those lighter targets. And it's the same story with her missile strength, very strong but no armor piercing, although good range on it, 180, and she can fire whilst moving in 360, so she's very much a nice little potential skirmisher. Now to abilities. First off, we've got the Dancing Blade. This is basically a massive defensive boost for her, gives her a 40% physical resistance, 24 melee defense, and reduces enemy melee attack by 24, so she can dive into some tougher crowds, but you'll probably want to pop this alongside her doing that. Then you've got Skjallandir's Fall. This applies to her and her alone, giving her 90 accuracy, so she's going to be a better shot. Also inflicts Blinded, which as we can see reduces melee defense, melee attack, block chance, and speed. This could be used in a few ways. Number one, supporting your army, helping out a unit that may be fighting a tough unit. She can debuff them from range with that shot. But that imbuement of Blinded also applies to her melee attack as well, so she can weaken whatever she's fighting. Then you've got Silver Dagger, which is basically just a nice damage boost for her, imbues magical attacks as well, so good if you're fighting demons or anything with a physical resistance. Good to pop alongside the Dancing Blade or even Skjallandir's Fall. And then for her magic, she's got the Law of Shadows, the entire thing, so Pit of Shades, Penumbral Pendulum, the Withering, all the usuals, very nice. For her abilities, she does cause fear and functions like a vampire, undead, crumbling, disintegration, all that usual stuff, so she won't rout on you at least. Has Smoke and Mirrors from the Law of Shadows. Then she's got By Our Blood, the Kislev ability that stops her routing, so she's going to be damn near impossible to get rid of, it seems. She also has the Hunger, so regeneration, because, you know, she's a vampire. Only active, though, when she's in melee, but still very helpful to keep a unit fighting longer. And then she's got Blood Shard, which will increase her spell mastery the more stuff she kills, so that's stronger shadow spells. And then just a couple of resistances. So she's got a lot going on. She's very tough. She's got a lot of damage output potentially. But it doesn't end there because she has a mount, a horse, a barbed warhorse. Very nice. But when you put her on it, she also gets this ability, which just makes her ranged attack even more deadly. Horseback Prodigy increases her range damage, gives her extra speed, Strider as well, but only while she's above 75% health, so best to try and use as much of her ammo as you can before you throw her into melee perhaps. But yeah, overall lots of good stats and abilities. She's a beefcake. Now when it comes to unlocking her in campaign, I'll keep this spoiler free. Basically when you advance the turn, if you've got an existing campaign like I have here, this Boris campaign, just advance the turn, then you'll get this mission, the one talking about reports of mutilated bodies across Sylvanian countryside. Follow it through for just a few quests and you'll get there. She's very easy to acquire. She starts off with a few of her items, that Silver Dagger for that ability that we saw just now. Also the Blood Shard for the spell mastery buff. And then here's her campaign effects and such as well, if you're interested. And I'll mouse over some of the skills. I'll do the top line at least, because they're the more exciting ones. I'm just going to mouse over them though. I'm not going to read them, so pause the video if you wish to have a proper read. Overall, it's good for Kislev to get a nice new shiny legendary hero, as the hero department is something that's lacking for them a little bit. The Empire obviously has a million heroes, so I'm not really sure they needed her, but I guess maybe there's a lore reason why she's with them. Lore nerds, feel free to fill me in there, but there we go. And when it comes to using her in battle, like I mentioned earlier, I think it's good to try and use up as much of her ammo as you can, because when she's lost 25% of her health, she's going to lose that bonus to a ranged attack. And with only 50 armor, it's pretty easy for that to happen. She can kite stuff though, like she is here. As she does have that speed boost early on, she can stay away from most things pretty well and keep damaging them as she goes. If she is staying out of combat, she can still use that magic as well. Drop a Pit of Shades here, a Pendulum there, maybe wither a few folk. She can do a lot of damage with that magic. Or she could have more of a support role with the Withering or Enfeebling Foe to help out friendly troops. But I guess one way you could use her in melee, if you don't want to keep her out of melee for too long, is you could throw her into combat, use her abilities, let her do some melee fighting in there. Her abilities will protect her, hopefully keep her above 25% health. She does have the Hunger to help keep her above that as well. And then once those abilities run out, you get her out of there, get her back to sniping until the abilities recharge. And as the stats dictate, look for those lighter targets preferably. She's going to take less damage from them probably, depending on what they are of course, but she'll be able to do more damage to them with both kinds of attack. If it is a lesser damaging, cheaper unit like Marauders here, that's a good way for her to get some regeneration back, although she is also fighting Berserkers here, which is probably not a good way to get regeneration back. Although with her abilities active, like here, that physical resistance especially is going to protect her, allowing her to hopefully get some nice regeneration even against the tougher Berserkers. And to the question of should she fight other characters, I'd say she can with those abilities active specifically. Depending on who it is though, of course, a big boy like Astrogoth here, probably not the best person for her to fight, even with the abilities. He's the kind of person that she can easily snipe and kite and wear him down with a ranged attack instead. I'm sure she could knock a few wizards out pretty easy though. But there we go, I hope you've enjoyed this, thanks for watching. I'll leave you on some footage of me trying to get a cool shot of Ulrika and then getting photobombed by Throg.